Good Friday, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Garden State Weather and gardenstateweather.blogspot.com, your source for weather information for the northern mid-Atlantic 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Rob Smith with the video forecast discussion for the weekend, the 7th of March 2014. And also to mention, do not forget to turn your clocks ahead 1 hour on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. That is when daylight savings time begins. And we cannot be any more happier than that at this point. And this morning's surface image shows northeasterly winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. The wind's a little stronger here along southern New Jersey and even points further south this morning as we have a low pressure system off the North Carolina coast and a high pressure ridge over the top of us to the north. That's creating a pressure gradient here, and a stiff wind is building along the coastlines. But interior sections right now, the winds are all light, and we're expecting all that wind and rain and even frozen precipitation in parts of the Virginia areas this morning to remain well to our south and east, passing just south and east of New York during the afternoon hours and during tonight. Right now, we have temperatures still in the teens across interior sections of northwestern New Jersey and the Poconos, and the mid and upper 20s in the Newark, New York City vicinity, the mid and upper 20s on Long Island, the upper teens to lower 20s in the Hudson River Valley and southern Connecticut, and basically, once again, the mid to the upper 20s across central and southeastern Pennsylvania into Maryland and Baltimore and Washington, and of course the Delmarva region here, Rehoboth Beach as well. Lots of clouds around the region this morning, most of them in the mid-low levels. We have a little bit of a temperature inversion, and the winds are keeping the moisture coming in from off the coast, and that's allowing the clouds to remain over the forecast region this morning. We have some small craft advisories on the open waters here. These small craft advisories will be in effect until 7 p.m. tonight, or Saturday rather, for northeast winds at 15 to 25 knots, gust up to 30 knots, except a few gusts up to 35 knots east of Delaware. Seas will be a bit choppy at 6 to 9 feet. This morning's surface analysis shows the high pressure ridge off the New England coast ridging down through Pennsylvania into the northern Delmarva region. We have a stiff northeast wind developing here as low pressure is off the South Carolina coast, and a shield of moisture getting into portions of the southern mid-Atlantic region right now. There's some snow falling across the interior sections here in the mountains, and we'll show you that on radar in just a moment. We're expecting this system to exit to our east during tonight, and basically dry conditions for the region. Could be a little bit of rain around southern New Jersey and the Delmarva earlier or later this morning into early this afternoon, beginning to show some echoes on the radar now. That should remain basically on the light side and then pass to the south and east away from our forecast region this afternoon and evening. Morning surface satellite imagery, the visible satellite showing plenty of clouds across the region. There is a little bit of clearing across northwestern New Jersey and parts of the Hudson River Valley, but basically, predominantly for the most of the region, it's generally cloudy this morning, and we find a lot of lifting and moisture in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere as that area of low pressure off the Carolina coast shifts to the north and east. And with this northeasterly wind and a temperature inversion in the lower levels of the atmosphere, plenty of moisture is in place, but most of this is offshore and away from the region. We can see this on radar now with some of the rain now and precipitation beginning to get into the southern regions of the Delmarva Peninsula here. And most of this will remain just to the south and east over Cape May and into portions of Sussex and Lewis County in Delaware, and then most of this will remain to our south and east, and then eventually just to the east during later this afternoon and tonight. On the aviational weather deck today, we have quite a few stations here in northeastern New Jersey, the New York City metro area, out on Long Island, interior and southern southeastern Connecticut, where we have visibilities either 3 to 5 miles or ceilings between 1 and 3,000 feet. That's MVFR conditions. Outside of that, basically VFR conditions. Let's take a look at Newark this morning. 27 degrees. Humidity 68%. Wind is out of the northeast at 12. The wind chill 16. Overcast conditions at 2,900 feet. Basically expecting some broken ceilings this morning, overcast at 25,000 with the cirrus there. And from late this morning in through the afternoon hours, some broken ceilings at 3,500, overcast at 20,000. Visibility is better than 10 miles. The wind's northeast at about 10 knots. And then for late tonight, early tomorrow morning, overcast conditions early at 25,000, then some broken to overcast conditions at 15 to 25,000 tomorrow morning. Winds continue out of the northeast at around 10 knots. And then a frontal passage by dawn tomorrow morning shifts our winds around to the west, or northwest rather, at around 8 knots. Visibility is improving. Some scattered clouds at 25 2,500, broken at 12,000. Nice day on tap for tomorrow VFR conditions. And late morning into early afternoon, northwest winds become a little gusty tomorrow at 10, gust up to 16 knots. Visibility is better than 10 miles. VFR conditions with some broken ceilings, scattered clouds at about 10,000 feet. Philadelphia, same kind of thing, 29 degrees right now, overcast at 22,000 feet. A few clouds at 2,500 feet. Visibility is better than 10 miles. The wind is northeast at 16, making the wind feel like 17 degrees outside. And some scattered clouds to overcast conditions early this morning with a northeast wind at about 10 knots. And then from late this afternoon through this evening, northeast winds at around 10 knots. Overcast conditions basically at 20,000 with overcast conditions later tonight improving down to about 15,000 feet rather. And then by early tomorrow morning, just a few scattered clouds at about 5,000 becoming partly cloudy. And the winds out of the northeast at 10 knots or less. Visibility is better than 10 miles. VFR conditions. Well, there are a couple of good things to look at here. First of all, we're increasing our daylight hours by daylight savings time on Sunday when we push our clocks ahead or spring ahead 1 hour. Temperatures on Saturday are going to get into the lower 50s in the central and southern areas of New Jersey, into the Delmarva and Philadelphia. Temperatures will get just to near or slightly just under seasonal temperatures, but with lots of sunshine and a lighter wind coming in for tomorrow afternoon. It will be brisk, though, in the early morning hours, but we should still have a relatively nice day for Saturday. And then a cold front drops through. Temperatures drop back down again on Sunday morning. This is the latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. See, it keeps basically a scattered plethora of clouds, more so along the coast and south of Long Island from the city south through central and southern New Jersey, even a little bit of light precipitation across the southern tier of New Jersey into the Delmarva region this morning and this afternoon as that wave of low pressure off the Carolina coast continues to pivot and drive towards the east off the coastline with some high and mid scattered level clouds across northwest sections, basically dry, just a few sprinkles, or just some light precipitation across the coastal regions as this begins to shift out later this evening and overnight tonight. And the latest 4-kilometer NAM model shows the increase of mid and high level clouds and low clouds across the region, some spotty light precipitation around the coastal regions this afternoon, while other areas just remain with broken ceilings and sunshine filtering through, especially in the northern sections, northwestern New Jersey, the Poconos, parts of northeastern New Jersey, definitely the Hudson Valley and Connecticut getting in a lot more sunshine today. And fortunately, there will be a little bit of light precipitation across the coastal regions down through the Delmarva as that shield on the west side of the low begins to pivot around just a little bit. That gets out of here, and we begin to clear out late tonight and early tomorrow morning with a plethora of mid and low level clouds still around the region and then drying out as the overnight with plenty of sunshine to start tomorrow morning. And then a cold front begins to advance towards the region, and that will pass through probably very late Saturday night with an increase in clouds late in the afternoon. Could be some very light rain or snow showers across the region during the day on Sunday morning, and that would be after midnight, early Sunday morning. Other areas probably just remaining mostly dry with just a few scattered clouds across the region. That front drives through to the south, and then Sunday turns out to be a nice day too, but albeit a windier one and definitely much colder once again. Remember, temperatures tomorrow probably remaining in the 40s to around 50 central and southern New Jersey, low to mid 40s, still below seasonal levels in northwestern New Jersey, but with the sunshine, it's going to feel nice. GFS forecast going into motion. There's our wave of low pressure off the Carolina coast, high pressure to the north and east. Some of that on the western periphery getting into the coastline and then out with clearing late tonight into tomorrow morning. And then another cold front passes on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Most of Saturday should be dry, lots of sunshine, then increasing clouds late in the afternoon as that moves off the coast. And then Sunday, basically we're dealing with generally dry conditions as the front comes through. There could be a little bit of sprinkles here or light snow in the Hudson Valley area, maybe parts of Pennsylvania, but not anything very significant at all. And then high pressure builds in from the south and west, and another clipper in the northern stream approaches on Monday morning. That passes to the north and east. There could be a little light snow again across the Poconos, also the Hudson River Valley into interior Connecticut. Most of the rest of the region remaining dry on Monday. Now this is where things get interesting. We have another trough developing in the Central Plains, Pacific Energy driving in from off the coastline of the Pacific. A wave of low pressure here, storm system developing in the southern and central plains, and this begins to push towards the east. Now, high pressure is building in across southeastern and central Canada, and this is going to allow this storm system to jump to the coast. As we approach the Wednesday afternoon time frame, isentropic lift developing, frozen precipitation, and snow developing across the region from 78 north, probably into the Hudson River Valley during the afternoon hours on Wednesday. And it might be marginally warm enough as the precipitation starts, but colder air will be feeding into the system, and the storm system will then begin to deepen off the benchmark here of New Jersey, Long Island, and southeastern Connecticut during the day on Wednesday night and Thursday morning, and that will change the precipitation over to snow. Too early to tell the exact impacts. Obviously, the energy associated with this development on the models is back out into the Pacific and not being sampled yet, but this is exactly what the model has been hedging at. And probably is going to happen, but we just don't know the actual impacts of that just yet. And high pressure begins to the split flow pattern again with high pressure developing across the central plains and then ridging all the way into the New England states. Here comes our next clipper, and this would be for next Friday, and that moves through basically with a cold frontal passage and a few snow showers across the region. And then another clipper comes through just in time for St. Patrick's Day and develops a little wave on it. Again, the northern stream, very active pattern going forward, but we still have to deal with more wintry precipitation on the way for next week as well. Looking at the zonal temperature anomalies for the stratosphere over the North Americas here and into the poles, we can find our warming event here in February, another warming going on in the mid and upper levels, the highest levels of the stratosphere here, beginning to press down on the mid levels of the stratosphere, but not so much so for the troposphere yet. Stratosphere at 70 millibars, we find the warming now returning towards the poles. And we find basically as we're finding this warming here getting closer back towards its normal position around the circle here, the Arctic Circle, is going to be lowering heights still across the eastern United States and off the coast of Alaska, the Aleutian Islands. So that's going to keep a trough in the eastern United States and a ridge across the western United States. We can also see this very nicely now from the 8 to 10 day 500 millibar mean from the European model, the GFS, and the Canadian model. We're finding a little bit of the a change here from what we've seen last night at this time in the modeling, and this would be from last night. More ridging here across the western United States, and again a mean trough in the eastern United States is showing up a little bit stronger with the lobe of height falls around the polar vortex here in eastern Canada and Hudson's Bay, east of Hudson's Bay across northeastern United States, but still a split flow pattern. Plenty of ridging here, so tropical energy still undercutting this in the split flow pattern, showing up also on the Canadian model. But notice there is a shift here in the location of the upper level low south of the Aleutian Islands. It's beginning to shift now more towards the Pacific as the stratospheric warming event is now waxing and waning, and it takes about 8 to 10 days for this shift to occur. So while we're still forecasting below seasonal temperatures and storm systems undercutting this pattern, it's going to be a challenging forecast going ahead as winter is going to be a slow release across the northeast and mid-Atlantic coast states over the next couple of weeks. So that's going to do it for this weekend. You stay safe out there. Enjoy the milder weather tomorrow, but windy conditions during the afternoon hours as the winds become southwesterly, and then a cold front comes through with chillier weather on Sunday. Don't forget, turn your clocks ahead 1 hour of extra daylight on Sunday with daylight savings time beginning at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. We'll be back in video form on Monday morning for Garden State Weather and gardenstateweather.blogspot.com. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You have a great weekend. See you back bright and early on Monday morning.